Hello everyone and welcome to our special coverage on the 25th anniversary of Macao's return to China. I'm Zhong Shi, live in Beijing. Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to arrive in the Macao Special Administrative Region later today and will attend a gathering marking the 25th anniversary of Macao's return on December 20th. He will also conduct an inspection tour while in Macao. CGTN will follow President Xi's visit as well as the celebrations underway in Macao. Here in the studio, we have Professor Jiang Gong from the University of International Business and Economics. Well, for more, let's bring in CGTN reporter Feng Yilei at the Macao International Airport. Yilei, great to see you. Talk to us about the atmosphere at the airport right now and how are the celebrations, the preparations rather, for the welcome ceremony.
Thank you, Zhongshi. I'm now reporting live from Macao International Airport, waiting for the arrival of Chinese President Xi Jinping to the special administrative regions. And as you can see, the preparation work is going on. And earlier, I've already seen people who are preparing for a welcoming ceremony featuring performance of a Macao police band and also some lion and dragon dance. And also, I have met with a huge group of people consist of youth and also representatives of people from almost all walks of life in Macao. They are holding national flags and SAR flags in their hand, and also some are holding flowers ready to warmly welcome President Xi's arrival. And some of them, they have shared with me their determination and confidence gained from the president's previous visit, and also their changes to their life over the past years, as well as their prospects for the future. So I should say you can just tell from the atmosphere what significant attention President Xi's visit has attracted both domestically and internationally. Just to give you a bit of the background, since the 18th CPC National Congress, especially as China advances in the new era, China's central authorities with President Xi at the helm have greatly being concerned about Macao's development and the well-being of its people. And President Xi himself has also reiterated on many occasions the successful practice of one country, two systems in Macao, as well as his great expectation for Macao to continue progressing alongside the Chinese mainland. And of course, his visit this time is of special significance. So first, it will be another remarkable moment for us to mark Macao's 25th anniversary since its return to China, and also we will see how it has been leveraging one country and two systems. And also it is expected that his visit will bring in new historical opportunities for Macao to integrate with Chinese modernization and China's opening up within the broader context of the national development. And right now, with all eyes fixed on the airstrip and the air is just thick with anticipation. I've also been here for a while with some let's say 100 other journalists. We're waiting here in the press zone right opposite to a podium where President Xi is expected to deliver a speech to the public, just as he did 5 years ago during his visit here. So I should say all of us are very much looking forward to what's going to happen next, and also in the coming days during which President Xi will attend the celebration of the celebration of the 25th anniversary of Macao's return to China, as well as the inauguration of the SAR's 6th government. And we will closely follow his footsteps and bring you the latest about his continued attention and support for the region's future development. Back to you.
Yilei, obviously a lot of media attention on this visit. We'll keep a close eye on the visit by the Chinese president. Appreciate your reporting this hour. CGTN reporter Feng Yilei at the Macao International Airport. Macao is immersed in a vibrant, festive atmosphere as it marks the 25th anniversary of its return to China. We take a glimpse at some of the celebratory activities.
As part of the 25th anniversary celebrations, Macao's Fisherman's Wharf is staging a special exhibition. 100 storytellers from all walks of life have shared their personal experiences of Macao over the past 25 years.
We've collected 100 stories of locals from all walks of life, celebrities, or everyday citizens alike. They've shared their feelings about how they have grown with Macau over the past 25 years. The gallery also features iterative elements to engage tourists and viewers.
The festive atmosphere continues into the evening, with nightly light shows themed Colors Shine on Haojiang River, taking place at 23 different locations in Macau.
During these celebrations, flags and flowers are everywhere in the city. We're hopeful for a bright future for both Macau and our motherland.
Celebrations will be on throughout the week, reinforcing Macau's status as an international tourism destination. The latest data showed that this year, Macau has welcomed more than 32 million tourists, nearly 47 times its population.
For some analysis, I'm now joined in the studio by Jiang Gong. He's a professor of economics at the University of International Business and Economics. Professor Gong, always a pleasure to see you. A reporter was saying how the air is thick with anticipation about the upcoming visit by the Chinese president. The president has visited Macau a couple of times. What is your take on the significance of this visit in particular?
Well, I think 25 years has been a long time, and I think without any doubt that Macau has been one of the most successful examples of a former colony returning to its homeland. From all aspects, from political perspective, from economic perspective, from social, societal perspective, Macau has been very, very successful. I think people in general in Macau are very happy with their current administration, with the economic performance. Macau's GDP per capita is about $80,000, among the top 5 countries. So, Macau is a region, among the top 5 countries, Macau being not a country, in the entire world. So, I think Macau's economic performance has really leaped greatly since ever since it's returning back to China. So I think President Xi's visit at 25th anniversary, as well as the inauguration of the new administration, turns over a new page that Macau is going to take its economy, its people, its society to the next level. It's a great example for many colonies around the world.
A very solid case of stability and prosperity, and we have the numbers to show for it. When meeting with Macau's new chief executive last month, President Xi said the practice of one country, two systems with Macau characteristics has achieved remarkable success in the region since its return. How do you make sense of the Macau characteristics here?
Well, I think when we talk about Macau characteristics, it definitely has to do with its own political system. It's different from China's, it's different from Hong Kong's. You look at the selection of the chief executive, the executive council, the legislative assembly, the lawmakers. It has a very unique system, and the system has functioned pretty well in the past 2.5 decades. I think this is really what Macau characteristics is all about, at least from a political perspective. And also, I would say that Macau is unique in its economy. It is a very special economy. It's a service-driven economy, pretty much built on tourism and gaming and leisure activities. This economy has been performing quite well. And in this country, this place cannot thrive without mainland China. Look at the tourists in Macau hotels. I've been there a couple of times. Full of tourists from China. And more importantly, in recent years, there's this integration between Zhuhai, Hengqin Island area with Macau as a base for further development for Macau. So I think these are very Macau-specific characteristics. These are the elements that have been explaining Macau's success so far.
Professor, appreciate you being with us here on our special program. Do stay with me. I'll be back with you later on. Carmen Mendes, president of the Macau Scientific and Cultural Center, shares her thoughts on the region's development.
I went to Macau for the first time in April 1999 and again in August of the same year, which was the year of the handover. That's also the year when I received my PhD at the University of London, and my research direction was exactly the Macau handover. I was very excited about going to Macau, which used to be a very traditional place. Now I go to Macau very often. The implementation of one country, two systems in Macau is undoubtedly a great success. Its creativity and results are obvious to all. Macao has been able to maintain its own governance system and characteristics, and has also played an important role in China's foreign affairs, serving as a link between China and the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Macao has made extraordinary progress since its return to China in 1999. Let's have a look at the region's economic situation.
Macao's GDP increased from some $6.5 billion in 1999 to about $47 billion in 2023. Per capita GDP ranked 9th in the world, which has since increased from $15,000 to $69,000. The city has also created various job opportunities. The unemployment rate dropped from 6.3% in 1999 to 2.7% in 2023. Macao now relies less on its gaming sector, which accounts for only 37.2% of GDP. It aimed to diversify its economy with tourism, financial services, technology, and culture. In 1999, over 7.4 million tourist trips were made to Macao. The number increased to 28 million in 2023. Macao has established stable economic, trade, and cultural relations with more than 120 countries and regions. It has participated in over 190 international organizations and institutions.
Well, let's talk about Macao's economy with my guest here in the studio, Professor Jiang Gong. You mentioned how Macao used to rely very heavily on the gaming industry, which I believe was what attracted you to visit Macao in the first place, like many tourists from the Chinese mainland. But the SAR has been diversifying its economy. We're now looking at a multifaceted, multi-pronged economy. We're counting tourism and leisure, traditional Chinese medicine, smart health. We're also talking about financial services as well as some high-tech sectors in Macao. Talk to us, Professor, about how important is it for the city to diversify its economy?
Well, first of all, let me say I didn't go to Macau for gambling or for gaming. Actually, I went to University of Macau for attending a conference. I will talk about this. University of Macau has grown tremendously. It has a beautiful, beautiful campus, 20 times as large as old campus. It's nice buildings. You know, they have also hired very good faculty members. Probably the increase in ranking for University of Macau has been probably the fastest, I think, among all the universities in China, to be honest with you. So it's a great achievement. Anyway, we'll talk about this later. But back to your question about Macau's economy. I think it's important to have Macau's economy a little bit diverting away from sort of a casino-dominated economy. I think it's good, even from a political perspective, let alone economic benefits. Right? You don't want your employment base to be exclusively working just for this casino industry. Otherwise, why do we have University of Macau? Why do we study science and technology? Right? So I think it's good to see that the economy has been diversifying into other areas, especially in technology, in finance, and I think this is impossible without the assistance coming from the mainland side. For example, the cooperation on the development of Hengqin Island is a perfect example. University of Macau, in fact, is actually located not in Macau, in Hengqin Island, on Hengqin Island. So I think these are great examples how both sides of, mainland side as well as Macau SAR can cooperate to propel the economy into next level, a level that is not exclusively relying on the gaming industry, but encompassing all kinds of areas. I think Macau's economy is gradually moving towards more high-end, high-value-added economies. It's a great success story by any means, whatever you look at it.
If we're talking about building Macao into a global destination for tourism and leisure, what competitive advantages does Macao have? Because very close to Macao, you have Hong Kong, which is also a very attractive destination for tourism and leisure. And of course, you have those cities on the Chinese mainland that are vibrant in Guangdong province. What unique competitiveness does Macau have?
I think, first of all, let's be very honest. One of the most attractive features of the tourism in Macau is definitely related to the gaming industry. I think, there's no denying about that. Second, I think, it has a special sort of a unique cultural aspect. It used to be a Portuguese colony. I mean, there are still Portuguese elements of its Portuguese culture, mainly in Macau. Its history, its past, its tradition. This is actually quite attractive and quite exotic to tourists from China. And finally, I think it's the proximity, it's closeness, it's the cost effectiveness. Actually, when I returned to Beijing, actually I didn't take a flight from Macau. I took a flight from Zhuhai Airport, and there's actually very direct, very convenient bus transportation between a hotel, a big casino in Macau, and airport in Zhuhai. So it's the proximity and also the easiness to go in and go out. That's also probably a factor, one of the factors driving tourism from mainland China to Macau.
That's integration right there between Macau and the Chinese mainland. Professor, thank you so much. Professor Gong was talking about the Hengqin zone. Let's now take a look at Hengqin, which is an island just minutes away from Macau and is fast becoming a hub for economic integration between the Chinese mainland and the special administrative region. From low-interest loans to cross-border home buying support, integration is reshaping lives and businesses. We get this story from CGTN's Huang Fei.
Amy Watt is a seasoned restaurant owner from Macau. When her lease in Macau expired, Amy decided to move her business just across the border.
Small, medium, and micro businesses from Macau are encouraged to set up in the Greater Bay Area. We get low-interest loans and discounted rent. Businesses that have fulfilled their 5-year lease can also apply for up to 2 months of rent exemption. They trusted me with a loan even though I'd never started a business here. I'm really grateful.
It's a bold move by the Bank of China, approving loans for Macau startups even before they've established assets or revenues on the mainland. By sharing credit records with its Macau counterpart, the bank's Hengqin branch is offering loans of up to $4 million with a 5-year repayment term. A total of $63 million in loans have been approved under the scheme. The bank is also simplifying the home buying process for Macau residents.
Under the guidance of the People's Bank of China, we've launched a cross-border home buying settlement service. Macau residents can handle everything, from securing loans to making payments, back in Macau. This saves significant time and effort. We've also introduced the country's first digital RMB mortgage loan for Macau residents, further strengthening integration between Hengqin and Macau.
Amy's restaurant is located in one of Hengqin's newest apartment blocks, where Macau residents aged 18 and above are eligible to purchase. She herself has rented a home here and is considering buying.
It's amazing living here. There's a lot more space, and my toilet even has windows, something you rarely find in Macau, even in new developments.
Part of Hengqin's appeal is convenience. Many daily transactions can now be made using the Macau Pataka, a major benefit for business owners like Amy, whose customers are primarily from Macau. Other local vendors, from coffee shops to convenience stores, are also embracing the dual currency payment system.
This supermarket is one of many vendors where customers can now pay with both RMB or Macau Pataka or MOP. This dual currency system is part of a pilot program that supports 8 e-wallets from Macau. It's a small upgrade, but one that highlights growing integration of daily life between Hengqin and Macau.
Having just opened in October, Amy's restaurant is still quiet. But with the new Macau University campus just across the street and more residents moving in, the future looks promising. For Amy, Hengqin represents more than a business opportunity. It's a chance to build new life in a growing community. Huang Fei, CGTN, Zhuhai in Guangdong Province.
Let's talk about Hengqin with Professor John Gong here in the studio. Professor, this year actually marks the 3rd anniversary of the establishment of the Guangdong-Macau in-depth cooperation zone in Hengqin. How do you understand this in-depth element that Hengqin has to offer?
Yeah, this is actually a great idea. It's a great experiment. Essentially, it's creating a special pilot zone in which make life in Macao and life on the other side of the river, people in Zhuhai, sort of seamless. People moving in and out of Hengqin, seamless really, catering to the needs of residents of both sides. So I think this has been quite successful. I mean, you see that, Macao Island is a peninsula actually. It's a very small place. It's a very, very small place. I mean, you can literally walk around in the day and exhausted places visiting in Macao itself. But with this new development, what it means is that people in Macao can buy real estate on these islands. The real estate providing affordable housing for a lot of people. And with it, there is also development of communities, the retail business, the restaurants, many jobs are created. This is all GDP, and I think it adds to Macao's development, also adding to Hengqin Island's development, which is part of the Zhuhai city. So I think it works well for both sides, and I think that as a next step, we're going to see more and more people starting out with their new business, VC investments, these new ventures and jobs being created to gradually transform Macao's economy into more of a, technology-driven economy. I think this is a great vision, and that's also part of the vision of the Hengqin Island development as well.
Yeah, let me follow up on that and get your take on the strategic positioning of Hengqin, because you talked about proximity, you talked about increased mobility for residents on both sides, but it has to go beyond that. The strategic position of Hengqin is first to allow the mobility of talents, right? And with enough talents, you're going to have to develop new businesses there. Hengqin we've seen a lot of preferential policies for people to start a small business, startups, tech startups in Hengqin.
Right.
So talk to us about that business aspect of things that are happening in Hengqin.
Yeah, so for something that you've been describing to happen, you really need a good local business environment. You need, affordable office space, for example. You need to have a comfortable living environment, attract talents, not just from Macao, but from other parts of mainland China as well. You would like people, to be more living on a permanent basis, for Macao residents, essentially to live on a permanent basis on Hengqin Island. All of these things need development, and it's very difficult to realize that vision on the very small island, very highly congested Macao Island itself. So that's why we set aside this. This is not from an administrative perspective, it's not part of Macao. It's part of Zhuhai City. But nevertheless, we're providing this place so that there's seamless interaction between the two sides, so that we're providing this environment where young people in Macao can come and work and live and start a new business and to develop into something bigger and better. So I think that's really the vision, and it's been working quite well so far.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your analysis. Macao has improved residents' quality of life over the past 25 years. Retirees now receive pensions of over 3,700 patacas, or about $466 a month. Residents aged over 65 get solid support from combined cash benefits, averaging over 6,000 patacas monthly. Macao has increased public housing with about 57,000 units built. Nearly all social housing tenants are exempt from rent. More than 70% of residents own their homes, and living space has expanded to over 20 square meters per person. Life expectancy has risen to 83 years. Seniors enjoy free medical services. The number of doctors has risen to 3 per 1,000 population since Macao's return to China. Macao provides 15 years of free schooling. The region's academic excellence can be seen in the OECD's Student Assessment Program, where 15-year-old students from Macao ranked second worldwide in their ability to use science, maths, and reading in real-life challenges. Thanks to the Hengqin Cooperation Zone in the nearby mainland's Guangdong province, employment and business opportunities have increased. Over 16,000 Macao residents now live and work in Hengqin. Professor, we just reported on the livelihoods of the people in Macao. We talked about how per capita GDP in Macao is pretty amazing. Help us put into perspective what that level of per capita GDP means for the prosperity, for people's well-being in Macau?
Yeah, so this number on almost $80,000, I think on a PPP basis, it's even more than that. I think it's about, if I remember this correctly, $140,000 per capita, and that's a very large number, to be honest. So I think this is really the financial basis against which the Macau government can provide all of the social programs you've been describing. And I think if you look at the overall living standard, look at the metrics you just mentioned. I think it's very comparable to some of the most advanced, the best running European economies in Europe, right? Some of the Scandinavian countries, for example. I mean, look at the welfare benefits Macau government has been providing to its residents. It's just spectacular, I think. So overall, I would say that ever since 1999, when Macau was finally returned to China, in all aspects, I think it's been a great story, success story, and probably even more importantly, in my view, is that our relationship with Portugal, which used to be a colonial country, governing and owning Macau, has been actually pretty good. And also as a indirect result of this, I think China's relationship with the Portuguese-speaking part of the world has been fairly good, right? Brazil is a very good example. I mean, this is actually not a small population. I mean, the Portuguese-speaking population in the world is actually fairly large. And then they have their own little, political collective aspirations, and they have their own representing their own interests. And China in general has a very good relationship with that part of the world. And I think so. If you look at the relationship with its former colony, look at the economic and political situation with the Macau people right now, and I think it's a resounding success story. So I think we have every reason to celebrate this 25th year's anniversary with fanfare, with highest respect for the SAR government, and we hold a lot of hopes and expectation for the incoming administration. We're going to witness the inauguration of that, so we'll be patient to see what's going to happen next.
You were just talking about the ties between China and Portuguese-speaking countries. Actually, trade between China and Portuguese-speaking countries has been rather robust. And if you look at Macau, one of its strategic positions is to serve as a platform to encourage trade cooperation between China and Portuguese countries. How does that fulfill that mission? When we talk about a platform, a demonstration, if you will.
Well, I think before Macau returned to China, there is indeed this business and trade network going through Macau, for trade between China and the Portuguese-speaking language-speaking world. And I think this nexus is still there. You look at the trade in Macau right now, a large portion of it is still very much tied to the transit trade from China. So I think this business nexus is still there and still thriving, which is good. So I think in that sense, the unique role of Macau in the history of China, its unique role into the future is actually quite important. Signifying, we have a very good relationship with a large portion of the world's population, and a set of, I think it's probably 10 to 15 countries who are speaking, who are Portuguese-speaking countries. A couple of them
less than 10.
Less than 10. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so a couple of them in Africa, and the largest one, of course, is Brazil.
Yeah. Unemployment rate in Macau has been kept very low, lower than before it was returned to China. Of course, you have a prosperous economy to prop that up. But what do you think are some of the other factors that have contributed to a low unemployment rate in Macau?
I think definitely has to do with the diversification of the economy. And I think more importantly is probably the quality of these jobs. It's no longer just casino jobs, which we all know, are not very high-tech jobs, but other jobs that are related to other industries, finance, technology, trade, commerce, these things. These are good jobs, they're good paying jobs. And I think this probably wouldn't be possible without mainland China's support, as well as the initiative located in Hanqing for a new development direction for Macau.
I don't know if you are at a position to talk about this, but traditional Chinese medicine obviously is positioned to be a pillar of the economy as part of the diversification process in Macau. Why Macau, and what does Macau have to offer when it comes to developing traditional Chinese medicine?
Yeah, I think this goes back to many years. I think Macau, actually to some extent Hong Kong as well, has been very good at maintaining and keeping the traditional Chinese culture, in keeping and maintaining the traditional Chinese medicine as well. There are these doctors in Macau been practicing Chinese medicine for some time. So I think that has probably some things to do with that. And now it's gradually developed into a viable and sustainable industry, appears to be.
Yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about Macau as a desired travel destination. When was the last time you traveled to Macau?
I think it's before the pandemic. I went there, University of Macau, to attend a conference, trilateral relations between Korea, China, and the United States, and we had a conference in Macau to talk about this. This was some years ago. But I was really deeply impressed by this new campus. It's a spectacular campus. And I also noticed over the years that Macau University's ranking has been rising rapidly. This is actually quite shocking to me.
Which shows the SAR government's focus on developing education in Macau. I don't think a lot of our viewers are aware that Macau is also a favored destination for students on the Chinese mainland where they pursue higher education. Exactly. Can you also share with us the advantages of an education in Macau, not just for students from the Chinese mainland, but for international students as well?
Yeah, so University of Macau should be described as, analogy term would be like a national university. In other words, it's a university funded almost entirely by the SAR government. So most of the funding source is actually coming from the government. In the past, with the very thick wallet of the SAR government, it's good to see that the SAR government has been pouring solid funds into the university. I mean, to run a great university, you really need funding. That is also my experience as well. You can also hire good faculty members with good funding, and faculty members would attract other kinds of research projects, and will in turn attract students, and overall ranking will be rising gradually. This is exactly what the SAR government has been doing. I mean, they're putting a lot of money into this. Look at the campus they have just built. I mean, it's a huge campus. And this kind of environment is really the reason why they are able to attract good faculty members and good students. With good faculty members, good students, good research people, graduate students, the overall results, in terms of research results, publications, for example, journal publications, will be steadily improving, and that really raised the ranking of university, which in turn attracts further good faculty members and good students. So I think this is really a good sort of a cycle up. It's good to see that this university has been growing to be I would say, a force to be reckoned with in the China's higher education market. As exactly as you said, they're actually attracting a lot of mainland students to that campus as well.
But when you look at prospect students eyeing for universities with great rankings, with an international vibe, with great faculty, there are a lot of choices in Hong Kong. There are a lot of choices on the Chinese mainland. How will an education in Macau stand out against the competition from higher institutions in Hong Kong on the Chinese mainland that may also enjoy pretty good rankings internationally?
Yeah, well, I would say university. Actually, it's more than just University of Macau. It's also, I think, Macau's University of Science and Technology is also a fairly good university. I mean, these universities are even better than some universities in Hong Kong, I would say, and they're certainly.
In what way?
In their ranking overall. Okay. And certainly, better than a lot of universities in China. I mean, I'm not comparing them to Tsinghua, Beijing University, right? But obviously, they're attractive in their ranking, attractive in their environment, and also probably attractive in a unique style of education. I mean, unique environment, a unique community. From a cultural perspective, that the university can offer to their students, to the members of the university community. And I think probably some students would be making decisions based on that as well.
Macau already is a very multicultural society because of its colonial past and because of the makeup of the people that live in Macau. How does Macau leverage this multicultural identity to attract talent and also to facilitate the free flow of talent between Macau and the Chinese mainland?
Yeah, so obviously, it's attracting people from mainland China, but it's also actually attracting people from Portugal as well. I mean, there's actually not an insignificant population of Portuguese citizens living in Macau right now. So, obviously, it facilitates the trade and business ties between Macau and Portugal, as well as the Portuguese-speaking countries around the world. There gotta be opportunities because of that. So I think this nexus, this connection between China and not an insignificant portion of the world is beneficial to all the parties participating in this, to mainland China, to people from Macau, to people from Portugal, as well as Portuguese-speaking people around the world.
We're attributing a lot of Macau's development and successes since its return to China to its integration with the motherland, with the Chinese mainland, and it's being strategically positioned in the Greater Bay Area. Can you share with us what is that unique position of Macau in the Greater Bay Area scheme?
It used to be a very great port. I mean, there's a reason why the Portuguese occupied this port about how many years? 200, 300 years ago, right?
1553. If memory serves, so that's when they set foot in Macau.
So way back. Yeah, there's a reason why they select this little place. It's a strategic location.
Professor, we're just getting live pictures of the plane carrying the Chinese president as he begins a trip to Macau to mark the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China. There will be a welcome ceremony at the Macau International Airport. The Chinese president will participate in a slew of activities once he lands in Macau. The Chinese president will be present at the inauguration ceremony of the 6th-term government of the Macau Special Administrative Region. And Sam Ho-Fai will be sworn in on Friday as the city's chief executive. As you can see there, the crowd's getting ready to welcome the Chinese president, children holding flowers as they welcome the Chinese president who begins his trip to Macau today. President Xi will also conduct an inspection tour during his stay in the Macao SAR. Professor Gong, what do you think will be the main components of his inspection tour there in Macau? He will be, of course, very keen to find out the latest socio-economic developments. Of course, he'll be talking with the chief executive, obviously. But what else do you think will he be focusing on during this trip to Macau?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, my observation is that they have put out a very welcome, fairly large welcoming crowd over there, and also I want to make one point. That is, for something of such significance, there hasn't been actually quite extensive reporting in the Western media. I mean, if you look at, before I came here, I checked the news a little bit, and I don't see a lot of reporting about President Xi's visit to Macau, and also any report about Macau's achievements at this point. So I guess that's something worth mentioning here. In terms of what will be his activities, I guess we'll just follow the official news reports. But I think one thing President Xi would definitely do would be to have meetings with the local business communities, to listen to these people, to ask for their opinions about the future development of Macau. This is typically what President Xi does sometimes. I think we really need to have local inputs, right? I mean, one of the defining...
To really feel the pulse of the local sentiments.
I think it's very important that in the basic law it says that Macau people governing Macau, right? This is the fundamental tenet of the entire government philosophy behind Hong Kong SAR. I think it's important to talk to these people and listen to their opinions and collect their advice on how we go about developing the country, developing the SAR into a better future.
And a banner saying, a warm welcome to President Xi Jinping and his wife for visiting Macau right there at the Macao International Airport. If you're just joining us here on CGTN, you're looking at live pictures coming out of the Macao International Airport, where the Chinese president's plane has just landed and is taxiing there at the airport. Well, we're seeing pictures of massive crowds there getting ready to welcome the Chinese president as he begins a trip to Macau to mark the 25th anniversary of its return to China. President Xi Jinping has met with Sam Ho-fai very recently. The meeting was in November. Sam Ho-fai was newly elected as the chief executive of the Macao Special Administrative Region and recently appointed by China's central government. That meeting took place at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. Witnessed by Xi, Premier Li Qiang presented Sam with a decree of the State Council appointing the latter as the sixth-term chief executive of the Macao SAR. President Xi congratulated Sam on his appointment and commended him for holding a firm stance of loving the country and Macau, fulfilling his duties and making contributions to Macau's prosperity and stability during his long tenure as the president of Macau's Court of Final Appeal. President Xi said in that meeting, quote, "In the election, you were nominated and elected by an overwhelming majority, which demonstrates the broad recognition and support from the society of Macau. The central authorities fully acknowledge this and have full trust in you." He also said the practice of one country, two systems with Macau characteristics has achieved remarkable success over the past 25 years since Macau's return to the motherland. Let me get the thoughts from my studio guest, Professor John Gong here. How do you think the one country, two systems principle has worked for Macau in particular, Professor?
Yeah, well, speaking of one country, two systems, let me first emphasize that this is a visit to a Chinese city here. It's not a foreign country, it's a Chinese city, it's a Chinese government and a Chinese chief executive welcoming him. So I think it's probably a different feeling for President Xi stepping out of the airplane, seeing such a large crowd. This is a Chinese city. Only a few hundred years ago, it was a foreign colony. Being so close to Chinese mainland, actually originally was part of Chinese mainland. So I think this is something I really want to emphasize. But on the other hand, we have indeed been implementing, sticking to our promise, right? According to the basic law of Macau, that Chinese government is going to implement a one country, two system promise. We indeed did that. I mean, the political system in Macau is different from mainland China. It's legislative, its executive branch, it's the judiciary system have been different from mainland China's systems. So overall, I think we've been sticking to this promise that we're going to implement one country, two system.
Yeah, and political stability really is the cornerstone for Macau's successes and prosperity over there. And the plane carrying the Chinese president now.
I don't even recall any significant political demonstrations in Macau over the last 25 years. Have you remember seeing that?
It has enjoyed great levels of political stability, which has enabled the city to really focus on its economy, on diversifying its economy for it to prosper.
Right.
And the plane now slowly taxiing to a halt there at the Macao International Airport. The Chinese president has also said that the central authorities will stay committed to fully and faithfully implementing the one country, two systems principle under which the people of Macau administer Macau with a high degree of autonomy. Xi told Sam that assuming the chief executive office comes with significant responsibilities and urged him to fulfill his mission by leading the new SAR government in uniting various sectors of the Macau society and continuously breaking new ground in the practice of one country, two systems with Macao characteristics. Of course, Professor Gong talked about what these characteristics meant for Macao. Macao enjoys that high level of autonomy. It also enjoys a multicultural society. The makeup of that society coming from different cultures. And Sam, on the other hand, said he felt deeply honored for the appointment and pledged to, under the leadership of President Xi and the central government, implement the one country, two systems principle fully, faithfully, and unswervingly, and lead Macao toward comprehensive progress. If you're just joining us here on CGTN, again, live pictures coming out of the Macao International Airport as you see young children there waving flowers as they welcome Chinese President Xi Jinping, who has just landed. The Chinese president is in the city to attend activities marking the 25th anniversary of Macao's return to China. And Macao has indeed made extraordinary progress since its return to China in 1999. Let's now have a brief look at the region's economic situation. Macao's GDP increased from some $6.5 billion in 1999 to about $47 billion in 2023. And Professor Gong talked about this just now. Per capita GDP ranked the 9th in the world, which has since increased from just $15,000 to about $69,000. The city has also created various job opportunities. The unemployment rate dropped from 6.3% in 1999 to 2.7% in 2023. Macao now relies less on its gaming sector, which accounts for only 37.2% of its GDP. It aimed to diversify its economy with tourism, financial services, technology, and culture.
I think it's probably worth paying some tribute to Mr. Deng Xiaoping, who actually first proposed this idea of a one country, two systems. And I think such a great vision to resolve these two former colonies' future. And I think, if he's still alive, if he was still alive today, he would be very happy to see what the current status of Macau is. It's a very creative political thought, and it's good that we follow up on that. And today, this formula, one country, two system formula, has been working spectacularly well in Macau. And I think President Xi's visit here, stepping out of this gigantic airplane and welcomed by such a large crowd, walking on the red carpet, it's such a vivid presentation of the success of we've been witnessing in Macau after all these years, after 25 years.
Definitely. Professor, can you shed some light on the financial services in Macau, because most people would associate Hong Kong as the financial center here. We're also talking about using the advantages of the Hengqin zone, for example, to also develop Macau's financial services. What is the status quo of the financial services in Macau?
I think it's essentially a free trade zone, and together with it, there's financial services being developed, in support of the new business developments. Macau is starting to see more of a sort of a vibrant financial sector. And you would imagine, with tourism, with gaming, with leisure, you need financial services. So I think these are the enabling industries that have been supporting the gradual development of a local, vibrant financial industry here. It has its own little currency, actually, right? Yeah.
What about the technology side of Macau? What type of high technology, what type of technological innovations are we going to see in Macau? What type of technologies is Macau an ideal hub for?
Well, I think we're not talking about manufacturing-intensive technologies. Definitely, technologies associated with the service sector, with the future. Things like AI, things like bio stuff, biomedicine, that kind of things. So I think these industries probably more appropriately for development in Macau. Especially if you think about the interaction between Macau and Zhuhai and Hengqin Island, right? These as long as they provide very good financial and preferential policies for VC investments, there'll be more businesses being started out in that region. Indeed, they actually do provide very preferential policies for Macau residents. Providing some little bit of subsidies for young people to go to Hengqin to start up a business. It's kind of a success formula. We're starting to see Hengqin for Macau people as well.
We've been reporting extensively on how many young people in Macau, young entrepreneurs in particular, are eyeing the opportunities on the Chinese mainland. They're very interested in these investment opportunities you mentioned. Also, those monetary subsidies obviously played a part there. Professor, in addition to monetary incentives, what other opportunities does the mainland offer to today's young people in Macau?
Well, I mean, so it's the market, right? It's the market. I mean, if you are starting a business, just starting Macau, targeting Macau, it has a population of how many? 700,000 people, right? It's not a very large market, but this is you're targeting the entire Chinese market, 1.4 billion people, the largest consumer market in the world. It offers way more opportunities for people from Macau. I think the government should do is to just make this kind of opportunity to totally accessible to the people in Macau, young people in Macau who have this business and entrepreneurial aspirations. Make it happen, make it accessible to these people, and also provide supports and subsidies, try to help them succeed.
Yeah, I do believe that's exactly what we're doing with Hengqin, to sort of experiment with the availability of opportunities. Another banner that says warm welcome to the Chinese president, to President Xi and his wife, for visiting Macau.
Yeah, I can hear that. The chanting here.
The chanting that's taking place at the airport. We're counting hundreds of people that have formed the welcoming crowds. They are ready to receive the visiting Chinese President Xi Jinping, who is in the city to attend activities marking the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China. Macau's unique blend of Chinese and Portuguese cultures has made tourism a cornerstone of the region's economy. In the first 3 quarters of this year, the city witnessed over 25 million visitor arrivals, a 30% increase from the same period a year ago. And group tours saw a significant rebound, more than doubling to nearly 1.5 million visitor arrivals, though the average stayed dipped slightly below a day and a half.
That's a lot of people. Macau itself is only 700,000 population, and we're seeing almost daily, maybe how many people? 500,000, million people?
Yeah, nearly 1.5 million visitor arrivals.
Yeah,
it does look like the welcoming ceremony is getting started. Again, there are about 500 people in the welcoming crowds. Wow. That's the most when it comes to the welcoming crowds for the arrival of the Chinese president. And traditional Chinese lion dances getting ready to be deployed there. They certainly add to the festive vibe at the Macau International Airport. We're seeing in the crowds both adults and children holding flowers, waving flowers, chanting, and it's all forming a very festive picture in Macau in anticipation of the Chinese president arriving there. So the chanting, as we can hear it, echoing at the airport. Welcome, welcome, a warm welcome. We should be able to see the Chinese president emerge from the plane any minute now. I mean, now that the bands have entered the scene, it means the celebration will start momentarily. Do stay with us here and check out those lions that are getting ready to dance. So you can see a lot of Chinese cultural symbols in Macau, despite the fact that there was a Portuguese colony for all of these years. The Chinese cultural symbols, the Chinese cultural traditions had always stayed with Macau.
Yeah, if you actually go to downtown, old downtown area of Macau, it's actually full of this kind of a Chinese characteristics. Look at architecture, look at the shops and stores along the streets. They really keep the old culture very well.
Very much alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
The chanting is getting louder as hundreds of people have gathered at the Macau International Airport getting ready to welcome the Chinese president who landed in Macau to begin his trip, marking the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China. We were reporting to you some tourism figures in Macau. And we do know that group tours saw a significant rebound, more than doubling to nearly 1.5 million visitor arrivals, though the average dipped slightly below a day and a half. So people make short trips to Macau, really to get a sense of what the city has to offer when it comes to tourism. In October, international visitors from countries like the Philippines, Malaysia, and South Korea totaled 212,000, recovering to 99% of pre-pandemic levels. So tourism has rebounded very fast with Macau. Again, another demonstration of the appeal of Macau as a global tourist destination. So much to offer. We're counting from gourmet food to, of course, to gaming, to world-class hotels and resorts, to shopping.
Yeah, shopping. There are actually also many people in Hong Kong who visit Macau regularly. When I went there, that bridge hasn't been built yet. We have to use the what is that? The
ferries.
The ferries, yeah, the ferries to move from Macau to Hong Kong. Yeah, but now they have a bridge. I think it's probably even more convenient.
It's a rather short ferry commute, so very convenient.
Right. I think it's about 20 minutes, I think, if I remember this correctly.
I think it's longer than that in terms of the ferry.
20 minutes,
the ferry.
20, half an hour, I think. Yeah.
And you're watching live pictures at the Macau International Airport. We're expected to see the Chinese president momentarily. He landed in Macau to begin his trip, marking the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China.
Now he comes out.
There, the Chinese president, accompanied by his wife, Madam Peng Yuan, stepping out of the plane, marking an official start to his trip in Macau. This is to mark the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China. The chanting getting louder as the Chinese president stepping out of the plane with his wife, Madam Peng Yuan. They seem to be very high spirits. They're excited about this trip. And the lions are dancing as part of a celebration that's taking place right there at the airport. Local officials as well as residents are gathering at the airport to welcome the Chinese president. A lot of them holding and waving flowers. Look at those young children there, giving their flowers and their love to their president and his wife there. As you can see, red carpet brought out to welcome the visiting Chinese president. Of course, Chief Executive Sam Haofai and his wife on the scene to welcome the Chinese president. The two have just met in November in Beijing, as we just told you about. The welcoming melodies going on as the chief executive introduces the Chinese president to members of the SAR administration. And the entourage accompanying the Chinese president now stepping out of the plane as well. It's certainly a very happy occasion. Professor Gong talked about this, a very proud moment. It's always a proud moment for the Chinese president to set foot in Macau. It's an important part of the Chinese history, and especially given Macau's successes and prosperity since its return to China, it calls for even more celebration as we envision what's next beyond 25 years.
These probably the military leaders of the PLA stationed in Macau, I guess, right? In uniform. This is one thing President Mr. Deng Xiaoping insisted that China have military stationed in Macau, in Hong Kong as well.
The chanting says, welcome. A warm welcome. These are local students who are passionately meeting and welcoming the Chinese president.
Nice weather too.
Absolutely nice weather there in Macau. As a welcoming ceremony is underway at the airport. The Chinese president has just landed. We are expecting to see if the president will deliver remarks at the Chinese airport, at the Macau airport.
It is a Chinese airport.
大家好。
Good afternoon.
我每次来到美丽的澳
Every
门，
time when I come
都
to this
感到
beautiful
十分的高兴。
land, Macau, I feel always very happy.
这一次，我是来和
This time,
同胞们
I'm here
一起庆祝
with all the
澳
compatriots
门回归祖国
to
25
celebrate
周年
the 25th anniversary of Macau's return
再就
to
是
the motherland.
看看这几年
I also would like to
澳
take
门
this
的
opportunity
新发展、
to see
新变
the
化。
new progress and changes happened
在此啊，
in Macau.
我代表中央政府
Here, on behalf of
和
the
全国
central
各族人
government
民，
and the people of all ethnic
向
groups
全体
of the motherland,
澳门居民致以
I would like
诚挚问
to
候。
extend
良好
sincere
祝愿。
greetings and the best wishes to all the residents in Macau.
25年来，具有澳门特
25
色的
years
一国
on
两制实践，取
The
得了举世
practice
公认的成
of
功，
one country, two systems
展现出
with
勃
Macau
勃生机。
characteristics has
和
gained a
独
great
特魅力。
success that witnessed by all the countries around the
国家
world.
的发
It
展
also
日新
showed
月异，
its unique charm.
势不可挡。
The country has also
澳
developed
门的发展
unstoppably,
厚积薄发，
and we have seen Macau
未来
also is
可期。
gaining a strong momentum. We believe that Macau
这是
will
澳
have
门居
a
民的
bright
光
future.
荣，
This is
也是
also
全国
the
人民
pride
的骄
of
傲。
the residents in Macau, also the pride
我相信
of the people in the motherland.
只要充分发挥
I believe
一国两
that
制
as
的
long
制
as
度
we
优
give
势，
the full play to
敢于
the
拼搏，
institutional strengths
勇于
of
创新，
one country, two systems policy,
澳门一定
and
能够创造
we
更加美好
will
的
see that
明
Macau
天。
will create a better future by making more innovation and
澳
stop
门是祖国的掌上明珠，
Macau is a cherished pearl
我一直
of
惦
the
念着
motherland,
这里的发展
and Macau
和
has
全体
always
居
in
民
my
的
heart.
福祉。
We care about Macau's development and the people's well-being. In the coming days of my visit, I will walk around the city and also conduct in-depth exchanges with people from all walks of life to discuss the strategy of future development in Macau. Thank you.
The Chinese president there delivering brief remarks at the Macau airport, where he paid a tribute to Macau, celebrating 25th anniversary since its return to China. And he did begin by saying he was very happy every time he set foot in Macau. He was very keen to find out the new progress and the new changes in Macau. He said on behalf of the central government and of all the Chinese people of different ethnic groups, he extended sincere greetings and best wishes to the residents of Macau. He did say that the one country, two systems principle gained undeniable success in Macau in the witness of all of the world, and that it demonstrated unique charm. He did say that Macau's success was very much the pride of the motherland, and he regarded Macau as a cherished pearl.
I think the right English translation should be a jewel on the crown. I think that's probably the best English translation.
That certainly gives play to how much Macau weighs in the hearts of the Chinese leader. Yeah. And he did say that he wanted to take a walk around Macau to see, what was new, what has changed, and conduct, as you rightly envision, Professor Gong, communication with people from all walks of life to really get a pulse of the local sentiments of people's livelihoods and the well-being of there. Can we talk about your takeaways from that very brief speech from the Chinese president?
Well, my first observation is that President Xi appears to be very happy. I mean, you can see from his speech, from his complexion that he's very happy.
This is the happy occasion overall.
Exactly. He used the words, as I said, I want to emphasize this. He said, in Chinese, 掌上means to pull in the palm of the hand. In English, I think the right translation should be a jewel on the crown. And I think Macau deserves every word of that. If you look at the achievement since the last 25 years, it's indeed, that's exactly what's happening. President Xi also rightfully attribute the success to the political system formula set aside by Mr. Deng Xiaoping. That is one country, two system. It's a resounding success. And this is a moment for celebration. This is a moment for being proud, as President Xi said.
I really like it when you use the word resounding to describe the successes in Macau. Undeniable, solid progress. Not just numerical successes, but really solid success on the ground, benefiting the well-being of the people. What are the takeaways, Professor, do you think are from the 25 years since Macau's return to China?
I think looking back, there are a couple of things probably worth mentioning in terms of attributing success. One thing, of course, is the formula, the political formula, one country, two system. The another thing I think is very important is the cooperation between Macau and the mainland side. I think Macau cannot succeed by itself. It has to be, cooperating and integrating into a greater China market. Indeed, that's what's been happening. We have more and more economic interaction between mainland side and Macau. In terms of tourism, in terms of other areas, the Hanqing project we've been talking about for quite some time. All of these things explain the success politically, economically, culturally, everything for this little island, but for a very unique people. I'm very happy for these people, and I think they are very happy for their current status as well.
Absolutely. Professor, thank you. Do stay with me here on our program. My colleague Hona has been reporting in Macau. Let's hand things over to Hona in Macau. Hona, the Chinese president has landed in Macau, feeling very happy and also very excited to check out the changes and the progress Macau has to offer. What can you tell us this hour?
Hello, Zhongshi, thank you so much for joining us on CGTN for a special coverage marking the 25th anniversary of Macao's return to China. I'm Hona, live from our studio in Macao. Joining us here in the studio is Professor Edmund Loy, the Associate Professor at the Macao Polytechnic University. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor. As you have heard, our president has just touched down on Macao International Airport, and he just made a keynote speech. So what is your expectation on President Xi's visit to Macao this time?
President Xi's visiting is very important to Macao. It delivers important message that Beijing still continue to support Macao as the economic diversification, and also I think it will play an important role in the link between China and Portuguese-speaking countries. I expect President Xi that will deliver some important speech and also make some suggest of the policy or project in the future of the Macao's more integration with the mainland economy.
And President Xi has spoke highly of the achievements Macao has made during the past 25 years and following the revision of the Financial System Act. So what new opportunities and challenges does Macao face in expanding new financial business models and strengthening financial collaboration with the Chinese mainland under the Greater Bay Area?
Yes, you mentioned it's a big challenge or also a big opportunity for Macao. And you know, Macao is the link between China and Portuguese-speaking countries. And in the past years, the trade between China and the Portuguese-speaking countries over $200 billion. And under the Financial Revised Act, Macao will play important role to attract more investment in local economy and also from the Portuguese-speaking countries, mainly focused on healthcare, finance, and modern service. I think Macao's finance industry will increase more rapidly. Also, I think, you know, Macao also faced great competition in Great Bay Area, like Shenzhen and Hong Kong.
Exactly.
So China still also definitely gives Macao a clear definition. Macao needs to find the clear niche to stand out.
And when we talk about the development or integration among Greater Bay Area, Hengqin is one of the key words here.
Yes.
So how do you assess this role in helping Macao to develop a more inclusive economy?
Yes, Hengqin is very crucial development for Macao's economic diversification strategy. Macao is lack of enough land and population, so Hengqin can provide more space for Macao's economic diversification development, like healthcare and modern service. You know, in past 10 years, Macao has the 5,000 companies in the Hengqin area, and also it attracts more talent come to here to live and work. So I think Hengqin will play very important role in the collaboration between the Macao and Great Bay Area cities.
And I want you to further elaborate on Hengqin. So how has the building of the Hengqin Cooperation Zone helped make Macao a window for the development of cross-border finance between China and Portuguese-speaking countries?
On the now circumstances, Macao is also facing the big challenge because our economy growth face the top class. And we find more opportunities in economic diversification. So in Hengqin area, we find we have the new industry like silicon and also like the modern service and finance. And in past years, we find that the Hengqin area provide more working opportunity and investment to attract the capital from Portuguese-speaking countries and China's economy. So I think Hengqin will be played a hub to connect between the China and the Western countries.
Looking ahead, Professor, how do you expect Macao to develop in the following years under the governance of the incoming Chief Executive Sun Hofei?
Well, I'm optimistic the Macao's future development under Mr. Sun Hofei. So he will still focus on our integration with the Great Bay Area, like the industry cooperation, and also we find the more development opportunities in the Hengqin area. So I think maybe still in the future, the key area is in the industry cooperation. And I think that under Mr. Sum's leadership, Macao's future development will be dynamic.
Definitely, there will be a lot of new integration policies coming in the near future. We appreciate your insights, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us here. All right, Zhongshu, that is all we have in Macau studio. We'll continue to bring special coverage of the celebrations here in Macau. Now it's back to you in the studio in Beijing.
We'll keep watching from Beijing. Hona, thank you so much. Let's do a crossover again to CGTN reporter Feng Yilei live in Macau. Yilei, the Chinese president landed in Macau to a very welcoming crowd, and he delivered short remarks at the airport. What more do you have for us? Yilei, I can see you now, and we do understand that the Chinese president made some very brief remarks upon his arrival at the airport, paying tribute to Macau's success in the 25 years since its return to China. Yilei, what more do you have for us about the Chinese president's arrival and about the celebration and welcome at the Macau International Airport? Yilei.
Well, Zhongshu, President Xi Jinping has just delivered an inspiring speech after he arrived at Macau. And first of all, he said he's pleased to return to the beautiful Macau, especially at this particular time, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China. And he praised once again the achievement and progress Macau has made since returning to China. Especially, he stressed this. That is a source of pride and honor for both people of Macau and the entire country. And also he stressed the successful implementation of one country and two systems in Macau. And also he mentioned about the bright blueprint for the Macau's development in the future. And he also mentioned in the next 3 days here in Macau, he will engage in extensive discussions with all sectors of Macau society. So that will come along with other of his schedule in the coming days, including the attendance of the celebration of the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to China and the inauguration of the SAR government's Macau SAR 6 government. And in general, I should say, right now, today, the atmosphere is just festive, and we have managed to talk to people welcoming his arrival. That include not just youth and also performers and also people from all walks of life. They are here who have shared with us their excitement, their anticipation, and their hopeful prospects for the future development of the region and the impact that could probably have also on their personal lives. So I should say, during the past week, while we carrying out our news coverage in Macau, we have also felt that the changes in the socio-economic development of Macau can be felt in almost every aspect. And in the next days, we will continue to closely follow the footsteps of President Xi and see what else we can bring to you. And of course, we will show you the continued commitment and support from Beijing. Back to you.
Yilei, we'll count on you and our other colleagues in Macau to do exactly just that. CGTN reporter Feng Yilei live at the Macau International Airport for us this hour. And let me pick up my conversation with my guest here in the studio, Professor Jiang Gong. Professor, I know economists are not in the business of predicting the future. You don't have that crystal ball. But I do want to ask you one last question about what the future of Macau holds. Macau is blessed with very much political stability, people with future-oriented and innovative minds. What can we anticipate in the future of Macau?
Well, as an economist, I'm going to say, first of all, the kind of growth rate we've been seeing in Macau for the last few years for an economy that has already reached that kind of a GDP per capita level is very unusual. We're talking about 6%, 7%. I think, this year is probably lower. This kind of a mid range growth rate for a very established, very mature economy with such a $80,000 GDP per capita is indeed very unusual. And I think if this trend continues, at least in the next 10 years, if you can maintain a GDP growth, maybe even just around 4% or 5%, it's just a great achievement. And I think I keep saying Hong Kong, Macau is likely to make that achievement. To meet that goal if it continues this path of further integration with mainland China, further integration with the bigger Bay Area. And this is probably going to happen with the government support, with the governments of the neighboring mainland cities support. I think for people in Macau, it holds a great future, especially for young people in Macau. I keep thinking about those young people living in crowded space in major metropolises around the world. It's actually very difficult for young people to survive in big cities. But here in Macau, they have a place to move to, they have a place to start a business, and this is very unusual in my view. So I think these are all great things for the next generation in Macau, and let's hope for the best for these people.
Appreciate your analysis, Professor, as always. Thank you so much. The central government is working to build Macau into a commercial and trade cooperation service platform between China and Portuguese-speaking countries. My colleague Hona spoke with Angela Leong-Ong-Kay, a member of the Legislative Assembly of Macau, for her insights on the development of Macau's cultural sector.
Macau has always been an integral part of the Chinese nation and the country. The residents of Macau, who have lived on this land for generations, have inherited traditional Chinese culture over time. In my view, the cultural exchange between Macau and the Chinese mainland is a natural and mutually beneficial process in which both sides move forward together. In recent years, the Macao SAR government, in line with the national directive to position itself as a base for cultural exchange and cooperation with Chinese culture as the mainstream and multicultural coexistence, has vigorously promoted the preservation, inheritance, and innovation of local cultural undertakings, including the cultural and creative industries, achieving positive results. I believe that the regional cultural complementarity and collaborative development model between Macau, the Chinese mainland, and Portuguese-speaking countries will further enhance its bridging role in the future. While strengthening ties within the Greater Bay Area cities, it will also elevate the soft power of the entire Greater Bay Area and the global influence of Chinese culture, jointly telling the stories of the Greater Bay Area and China as a whole.
Macau's finance sector has attracted companies from Portuguese-speaking countries, helping to facilitate trade between the two regions. Trade between China and Portuguese-speaking countries increased 7.8% in the first 3 quarters of this year. CGTN's Xu Hua has this story.
My name is Carlos Alvarez. I came to Macau on vacation 25 years ago. I came here now for working as a CEO of BNU. BNU is a state-owned company that belongs to CGT that has a very important presence in the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Alvarez, who first visited the region 25 years ago as a tourist and now as a businessman, has seen Macau evolve into a significant platform connecting Portuguese-speaking countries and the Chinese mainland. How do you view the current foreign investment environment?
So, the bank is here in Macau for already 122 years. So we have a strong relation with many companies. We have very close relation on companies from different sectors. The recovery of the economy after the COVID was really strong. So there are some sectors that recovered completely, mostly related with tourism, so regarding integrated resorts and so on.
Alvarez emphasizes that China is a rapidly growing region, which is why his bank has been helping companies in Portuguese-speaking countries look to Macau as a gateway to the Chinese market. Antonio Treaty's company is one of them.
So we are, I think, unique in Macau. We are a mix. Most of our colleagues are local professionals, highly trained, but we have also international colleagues, specialists from all over the world.
Based in both Macau and Portugal, Treaty's company expanded their business further into the Chinese mainland.
In the mainland, we operate a public network of heating for, in the very high, cold winter locations in Xinjiang, in Urumqi, or in Liaoning, in, Liaoyang, where we have Guangqiaoling district, where we operate the local heating network.
With a history of over 450 years, the relationship between Portugal and China continues to grow. Alvarez sums up his outlook for the future in 3 words: important, positive, and brighter. Xu Hua, CGTN, Macau.
Macau's GDP reached around $37.5 billion for the first 3 quarters this year, marking an 11.5% year-on-year increase in real terms. CGTN spoke to Vincent Yu, president of the region's Commerce and Investment Promotion Institute, on the unique advantages that Macau's business environment offers.
Regarding the unique advantage, I would like to also share some figures with you. Firstly is one, the most important advantage Macau is one country, two system. Under one country, two system, we have a series of advantage. And the second figure is 9. We are designated by the central government as the only place, as the platform between China and Portuguese-speaking countries for economic cooperation. And as you may know that the Portuguese-speaking countries compose of 9 countries with nearly 300 million population, which is a huge market. And also lastly, the figure is 106. 106 means the land space of Hengqin, the Hengqin, Guangdong, Macau in-depth cooperation zone. Why I share that? Because as you may know that Macau is a very small places. The land space is the very bad limitation for us, and cause it is a very long-term problem for us. And with the 106 square kilometers land space of Hengqin, transform those situations, and it is very meaningful for us, especially for our sustainable economic development in the future.
And that is our program for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zhong Shi. I'll be right back at the top of the next hour with more global news. Stay with CGTN.